First up, dude, I want to say this is top of the rugby news for us today. Easily might be maybe not the biggest news, but I feel like it's the biggest news. USA Rugby has announced that they are adding some interim coaches. That is Scott Lawrence and Richard Ashfield are going to be taking over as the interim coaches for the foreseeable future for USA Rugby men's and women's team. Now, Richard Ashford, I'm not going to lie, I don't know very much about him. This is just, it is what it is. But Scott Lawrence? Oh, that is a legend. And honestly, I feel like it's something that's been a long time coming. And it's always been interesting why he hasn't done it. If you don't know, Scott Lawrence initially was a head coach and director of rugby for Life University. He was the former head coach and basically low-key director of rugby for Rugby Atlanta MLR team. Of course, he's also been the U20s USA Rugby head coach as well. Won Rugby World Trophy for the Junior World Cup, the Junior World Trophies to that effect. Like, this man's got a history of like winning. When you talk about a guy who is a winner, this is a winner. And Scott Lawrence has been shown like consistent success. Now, that being said, outside of Life University, I guess even Americans, but in MLR, he never quite took it over the top. But he's always been like right there in the middle. Tough nose, kind of defensive guy, but has a proficient offense with his rugby teams. Like, they're always tough teams. There's undoubtedly have always been tough teams. I think some of the best success that Life University had was under Scott Lawrence. And so I find this to actually be a unique situation, only the fact that I never really understand why he was never considered. He's an American coach. Obviously, he lives in the country. He's worked for USA Rugby. He's had a pretty solid history of being able to win at almost all the levels. We haven't seen him at the top level, but I am uniquely interested as to why it's taking this long. And even at this, it's simply just the interim tag. So, they're basically saying we're just placeholding you until future notice. But are we going to have enough games between now and when future notice is to take over? Or does he even really want it? These are all the questions, but I think we'll find them out as time goes on. But for whatever it's worth, I think this is a great situation. I'm thinking that Scott has been able to earn this position for all this time. And for what we need to do for USA Rugby in terms of our elite teams, and this is for the 15s teams, if I didn't mention this correctly, if we at least need to consider the fact that we need time. Like, we need time to be able to see how this all works out. Do we even have another coach that's in mind that we're looking to? I know, again, I talked about it the other week. There's talks about World Rugby trying to step in and do some maneuvering in the space, but still, like, why not we roll with this for a little bit and see what we can do? Players know who he is. He's got a great reputation. And we can see there will be at least strategically growth. I think he's widely considered one of the most strategic rugby coaches in the country right now. But again, is he going to be taking us to a Rugby World Cup finals good? I think it's to be determined. But I'm happy to see that he has at least a chance. And I'm really interested to see what our actual game scheduling is going to be, because between now and the actual Rugby World Cup, a lot of the top teams are going to be winding down their heavy starters, but they're still going to be trying to, get some warm-up games here and there, which would be an opportunity, but we're not going to be seeing their best. It kind of reminds me of 2019, whenever we had South Africa and Australia over at RFK Stadium in D.C., and it was just like a whatever game, because it was basically just the second and third stringers playing, because everybody was just prepping for the Rugby World Cup. Nobody wants to get injured before the biggest setup of matches, and obviously that worked out very well for South Africa, as they got to win. But what are we going to be able to see? And I personally don't think that there's a coach that's out there that will be able to take on the responsibilities and understanding that comes with the U.S. because it's been said ad nauseum. We are a very complicated situation based almost solely on the size of our country. Look, it's hard. It's hard to be, the fifth largest country? Third largest country in the world? Yeah, the third most populous country in the world. And the two that are above us don't really play rugby that much, though they're trying. So this is a unique situation that comes with a lot of baggage to it. And for what it's worth, I think Scott will be able to do it. Now, when it comes to Richard, from what I'm reading, shout out to Matt McCarthy on Rugby Wrap Up. He's definitely been a coach for Stanford and a coach for Beantown, which is, if I remember correctly, I don't remember correctly. Beantown is Boston, so he's done some WPL stuff. He has been an assistant coach for the Women's Eagles since 2013. So, I mean, he's been there. I feel like this one, again, not knowing very much about him, I feel like this is a situation of let's transition from Rob Kane to somebody that the women are familiar with. That one, I don't know if this is the best coach that's available for it. But from the men's side, I definitely feel the most confident as Scott Lawrence. Again, depending on if this is something that he wants to do, because I feel like this has to be the only reason why he hasn't gotten it to this point. So we'll see how it goes from there. But I really want to know what our game schedule is going to be for international play at least for this year and definitely for 2024 for the 15s to see if he can get that interim position removed and actually just be a head coach. Hey
everybody, this is just the Break Train sending out a personal little video diary to all you people out there where I am going to document me riding most of the way between Singapore and Tokyo for the 2019 Rugby World Cup.
I needed help, and it came from Louisiana.
We in Singapore, baby!
Gift from GiftTime Rugby USA is a extroverted tour de force. But what unites us is a hunger for adventure.
Off to KL, Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah! Woo! Gift, where are we?
We're in Vietnam!
Morning, Vietnam! Mount Fuji, baby!
Our love of Asian rugby culture.
1, 2, 3, center!
Yeah!
Rugby is starting to develop here in Cambodia for women as well.
Valkyries, the mighty, mighty Valkyries!
We're out here, we're running out of energy, we're running out of money, and we're feeling isolated. And yet at that critical moment, friends, family, sometimes complete strangers come on board. Before you know it, we're back in the game. Tokyo, here we come!
Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. Watch the full adventure at crugby.vhx.tv. That's C like SEE rugby.vhx.tv.
For a while I lost my smile, but they still couldn't steal my style. Now they're never gonna bring me down.